Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are undertaking, well, a true deep dive into one of those remarkable literary phenomena of, gosh, the last 30 years. Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist.
That's a big one.
It really is. This book isn't just a novel. It's become this global parable, almost a manual on destiny, a quest for fulfillment that has resonated just everywhere.
Across cultures, industries, everything.
Exactly. So our mission today is to kind of cut through that simple narrative layer and really extract the core philosophical architecture. The mechanics of the personal legend, what omens really mean, the nature of courage, all drawn directly from those opening chapters. They really set the stage for Santiago, our hero.
Yeah, and it's such an essential deep dive, I think, because the book has this almost mythic status now. Everyone knows the title, right? But often people kind of skip past the profound, almost coded wisdom that's packed into those early conversations. The concepts, the soul of the world, the cosmic conspiracy, this mysterious force. These are the bedrock. They really are, and they demand a closer look.
It's framed like an adventure story.
Right, but it operates on this deeper level, like a spiritual curriculum almost.
And the book's own story, its own journey, is just amazing. It's a testament to its central theme. We have to start there, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. The backstory is incredible.
I mean, its initial printing in Brazil, 25 years ago, is a historical disaster. The foreword actually mentions that in the first 6 months, only one person bought 2 copies.
One person, buying it twice. Presumably the second time was to replace the first one they'd read and loved.
Imagine that level of, failure. His original publisher, just a small press, cut him loose, canceled the contract, let him take the manuscript back.
And Coelho was, 41? Believing he was pursuing his personal legend by writing this thing, and the world just gives him this massive just silence.
He was reportedly desperate, but the story goes he never doubted the message or his mission.
That sheer persistence right there becomes like a meta-narrative for the book itself. It's incredible.
It really proves that point the book makes later, doesn't it? That the universe tests you hardest right when you're about to succeed, or maybe right when you're tempted to quit.
Exactly. Because from that absolute low point, that cancellation, it just explodes through sheer organic word of mouth, no big ad campaign.
None at all. And it becomes the most translated book by any living author. Over 80 languages. Stays on the New York Times bestseller list for more than 300 weeks.
That's almost 6 years, continuously. Just phenomenal.
The appeal is just undeniable. Critics often compare it to The Little Prince, that same quality of simple yet profound wisdom.
Yeah, but then you look at the fans. It's not just literary types. Bill Clinton, Madonna, Anthony Robbins, leaders in, every field imaginable.
It taps into something universal, doesn't it? That shared human anxiety. Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I on the right path? Am I living my purpose?
And the book promises not just a story, but this practical bedrock of wisdom about following one's heart. It offers answers, or at least a way to find them.
Okay, so let's unpack that bedrock. Let's start right at the beginning with the prologue. It sets the entire philosophical stage using this inverted myth. It challenges our whole understanding of self-absorption.
Yeah, the prologue is genius. It completely subverts the classic Greek myth, the one we all know, right? Narcissus, the young guy so obsessed with his reflection, he falls in and drowns.
The standard cautionary tale about vanity.
Exactly. But Coelho's version, as told by the Alchemist character later, gives the lake a voice.
And the lake is weeping. Weeping salty tears. The goddesses of the forest show up and ask, "Why are you weeping for Narcissus?" They just assume it's because he was beautiful, and now that beauty's gone.
That's the obvious interpretation, the expected moral. Tragedy over lost beauty. But the lake hits them with this twist. It says basically, I weep not because Narcissus was beautiful, but because every time he knelt by my bank, I could see my own beauty reflected in his eyes.
Wow. Okay. That changes everything. It totally reframes the whole quest narrative, doesn't it?
Completely. The journey to find your treasure, your destiny, it isn't just about getting some external thing like gold coins in a chest. It's about the internal discovery. It's about the value the journey reflects back to the seeker, and maybe even back to the world itself.
So it's reciprocal. The seeker sees the world's beauty in pursuing their truth.
And the world, in turn, sees its own value reflected in the seeker's focused eyes. It's this symbiotic relationship right at the heart of pursuing your destiny.
That setup is perfect for Santiago. Because when we meet him, he's already kind of living his personal legend, even though he doesn't have the fancy term for it yet.
Right. He's a shepherd. He's sleeping in this ruined church, and this detail's important. There's a giant sycamore tree growing right where the sacristy used to be.
We'll come back to that tree.
Definitely. But his origin story is critical, too, because it shows that first real act of courage. He went to seminary until he was 16.
His parents wanted him to be a priest. Stable job, source of pride for a simple farming family. Makes sense.
Totally. But Santiago wanted something else. He wanted to travel, see the world. He felt this was, and this is a direct quote basically, much more important to him than knowing God and learning about man's sins. He chose experience over dogma.
That's a bold choice for a 16-year-old from that background.
Huge. And he didn't just run away. He actually confronted his father and got his blessing. His father gives him 3 old Spanish gold coins to buy his flock.
Which is incredibly generous. But there's that heartbreaking moment where Santiago sees in his father's eyes his own suppressed desire to travel the world.
Yeah, that generational burden of the unfulfilled dream. The father kind of sacrifices his own latent wish to help launch his son's journey.
And Santiago, in turn, finds this deep connection with his sheep.
Yeah.
It's almost mystical. He believes there's this mysterious energy binding their lives.
He talks to them, reads them books, tells them his feelings. He genuinely believes they understand him on some level.
And he notes, doesn't he, that this constant engagement, this silent communication, is preparing him for something bigger.
Exactly. He's mastering that language without words, just through empathy and observation. Skills that are going to be crucial later in the desert. He's also practicing making decisions, taking responsibility for his little world. But all this quiet contentment, it's about to get seriously disrupted.
By a signal from the cosmos, basically.
It starts with the dream, the recurrent dream, sleeping in that same ruined church under the sycamore.
Right.
Yeah.
He has the same dream twice. A child appears, plays with his sheep, and then transports him magically to the Egyptian pyramids. The child says there's a hidden treasure there.
But he always wakes up right before the exact spot is revealed.
That repetition, it feels like the universe just knocking louder, doesn't it? Hey,
Yeah.
pay attention.
It really does. And the dream is so vivid, so persistent, he feels he has to get it interpreted, which leads him to the gypsy woman in Tarifa.
And she confirms it. Yep, you got to go to the pyramids, find that treasure. Simple as that.
Well, almost. She adds her fee.
Ah, yes, the fee. 1/10 of the treasure. And she makes him swear on an image of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Now, I gotta ask, is this predatory? Or is it like a necessary test of his commitment? She's basically taking a cut of his destiny before he even starts.
That's a great question. You could see it both ways. But in the book's logic, it feels more like the latter. It's an initiation fee, a sacrifice. She's establishing a contract not just with him, but maybe implicitly with the universe, demanding a cost of entry to prove he's serious. She's acting like the universe's tax collector.
Okay, the universe's tax collector. I like that.
And she gives him that crucial warning, too. Dreams are the language of God. And if God speaks in the language of the soul, only the dreamer can really understand all the nuances. It's personal.
Santiago leaves feeling a bit ripped off, though. Like he wasted his time just to be told what he already suspected.
Yeah, he's disappointed. But that moment of doubt, that slight disillusionment, is exactly when his real guide shows up.
Melchizedek, the old man, the king of Salem. He meets him while reading a book near the ticket window to Africa.
And the king doesn't waste any time. He immediately throws down this philosophical gauntlet, criticizing the book Santiago's reading because it focuses on people's inability to choose their own personal legends. He calls the author out.
And right away, he defines the enemy, philosophically speaking, the world's greatest lie.
Which is?
The belief that at a certain point in our lives, we lose control of what's happening to us and our lives become controlled by fate, that we're just puppets.
Boom. That's a massive idea. It directly attacks fatalism, the idea that you have no choice. Santiago pushes back at first, saying, hey, I chose to be a shepherd.
But the king proves who he is. He does something. Impossible.
Magical, yeah. He writes all these incredibly personal details about Santiago's life in the sand, his parents' names, the seminary, the name of the merchant's daughter, a name Santiago didn't even know himself. It proves Melchizedek isn't just some random old guy. He's ancient, maybe divine, an emissary.
And that gives him the authority to introduce the core concept of the whole book, the personal legend, the PL.
Defined simply as what you have always wanted to accomplish. It's that thing everyone knows instinctively when they're young, right? before the world tells them it's impossible or silly, when everything is clear and everything is possible.
But then it gets more complex. He introduces the mysterious force.
Right. And this force seems negative. It throws up obstacles, creates difficulties, injects doubt, makes things hard.
But its real purpose, Melchizedek says, is actually positive.
Exactly. It's there to show you how to realize the personal legend. It prepares your spirit, strengthens your will, it tempers you like steel.
Okay, but if the mysterious force is sending the challenges, how is getting robbed blind by a thief a positive thing? How does losing everything help? That seems counterintuitive.
It creates necessary friction, maybe. If the path was just smooth sailing, Santiago wouldn't develop the resilience he needs, or the humility, or, crucially, the ability to read those nonverbal cues he missed. The setbacks force him to shed baggage, his naivete, his reliance on money, and focus only on the goal. It's like the universe is his personal trainer, toughening him up before the real challenges in the desert.
A cosmic trainer.
Okay.
And this force, this trainer, it works alongside the cosmic conspiracy.
Which is Melchizedek's big promise. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. The soul of the world is actively rooting for you.
That sounds beautiful, almost comforting.
It is, but there's a slightly darker edge to it, too. The king points out that the soul of the world isn't just nourished by people's happiness by achieving their PL, it's also nourished by unhappiness, envy, jealousy.
Wait, how does that work?
It suggests that even people who fail, who give up on their dreams, they still contribute somehow. Their stagnation, their bitterness, it serves as a cautionary tale, maybe? Or maybe their unspent energy just feeds back into the system, fueling those who are still striving.
Huh. That's complex. So realizing your personal legend isn't just a personal goal, it's like your duty.
The king insists it's a person's only real obligation to the universe. And he uses the baker analogy to illustrate the opposite. The baker in the town square.
Right, the guy who always dreamed of traveling but ended up buying a bakery instead. Prioritized stability, money.
Yeah. He chose security over his destiny. And why? Partly fear of what others think. Melchizedek points out, parents would rather see their children marry bakers than shepherds. Social pressure, routine, comfort, they often win out over the dream.
That fear of just getting stuck, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Melchizedek then talks about the principle of favorability, beginner's luck.
Right. He says the universe deliberately gives you a taste of success early on, like, winning the first time you play poker or something. It whets your appetite, encourages you to keep going when things inevitably get tough later.
He tells that story about the emerald miner too, doesn't he?
Yeah, the miner who searched for 5 years, found nothing, totally disheartened, ready to quit. Melchizedek, in the form of a stone, intervenes. The miner, furious, throws the stone, it hits another rock.
And cracks it open, revealing this incredible emerald.
Exactly. The universe supports you, but you have to commit fully, sacrifice everything, and sometimes the miracle happens right at that breaking point, just as you're about to give up.
So Melchizedek takes his payment, 6 sheep, 1/10 of the flock, mirroring the gypsy.
Another sacrifice, another sign of commitment.
And he gives Santiago the 2 stones, Urim and Thummim. Black for yes, white for no.
Literal tools for reading omens,
Yeah.
divine guidance in his pocket. But, and this is crucial, he comes with a warning.
Right. Use them only when you absolutely can't make up your own mind. Try to make your own decisions first.
Yeah, they're a safety net, not a crutch. Trust your intuition, trust your courage. That's the final lesson before Santiago makes the leap, crosses the strait into Africa.
So Santiago arrives in Tangier,
Right.
Africa.
Yeah.
And boom, reality hits. The mysterious force kicks in hard.
Instantly, he forgets that one crucial detail. Only Arabic is spoken there. He's immediately isolated, vulnerable, can't communicate easily.
And he defaults to the easiest form of communication, maybe the most dangerous. Trust. Blind trust.
He hands over all his money, everything he got from selling his entire flock, to this young guy wearing Western clothes who speaks Spanish. The guy promises to help him buy camels, guide him to the pyramids.
And Santiago gets distracted. Just for a moment. Sees this beautiful sword in a shop window, starts dreaming about buying it on his way back, loaded with treasure.
And when he turns around, the guide, the money, everything, gone, vanished.
Devastating. That's the first major test, isn't it? Losing it all.
Absolutely. And the universe is basically charging him tuition for his naivete. He sits there, crushed, crying, feeling like a total victim. But then he has this sharp realization.
What was it?
He figures out why he was robbed. Because he saw the world in terms of what I would like to see happen, not what actually does. He ignored the warning signs.
The bar owner.
Yeah.
The guy who tried to warn him non-verbally.
Exactly. He ignored that physical omen, that gut feeling, because he was too caught up in the promise, the Spanish words, the future he imagined. It's a brutal lesson, but vital for surviving the desert where words mean less.
In his despair, he reaches for the stones, Urim and Thummim.
Right. He pulls them out, asks the first question, is the old man's blessing still with me? He feels for the stones, gets a yes.
Okay, some hope.
Then he asks the big one, will I find my treasure? But as he reaches into the pouch, both stones slip through a hole he didn't know was there and fall to the ground. He loses them temporarily.
Whoa, the ultimate omen, maybe.
Yep.
Losing the omen readers themselves.
It teaches him something critical about guidance, doesn't it? There are some questions you shouldn't ask, some answers you shouldn't seek externally, because knowing might make you quit, make you flee your own legend. He realizes he has to rely on himself, not magic rocks.
And that's when he shifts his perspective.
Totally. He makes a conscious choice, stands up, decides he's not a poor victim, he's an adventurer looking for treasure. That mindset shift is everything. It gives him agency again.
Broke, but determined. He starts wandering, looking for work, and finds the crystal merchant.
Ah, the crystal merchant. Such a key figure. This guy has been running the same failing shop on the same dusty hill, completely unchanged for 30 years. He is the absolute embodiment of the fear of change.
But Santiago, driven by basic needs, gotta eat, gotta survive, he starts working for him. And he doesn't just sweep floors.
No, he starts small but smart, cleans the dusty crystal display. Simple act, right? But it immediately attracts more customers. Then he pushes for more changes, based on observation, on omens, really.
Like building that display case outside. Even though the merchant is terrified, the crystal will get broken.
Right. Santiago uses his shepherd's logic. Look, sheep might get killed by snakes, but that's the risk of being alive. You don't keep them penned up forever. The display works. Then he gets the big idea, selling refreshing mint tea in the actual crystal glasses.
Which turns out to be a huge hit. Doubles the staff, doubles the income. The shop thrives because of Santiago's energy.
Yet, the merchant himself remains stuck. And this is where the tragedy of not following your personal legend really hits home. We find out the merchant's dream, his PL, is the pilgrimage to Mecca. It's his 5th obligation as a Muslim. He finally has the money, thanks to Santiago.
But he won't go. He actually tells Santiago his fear explicitly. I'm afraid that if my dream is realized, I'll have no reason to go on living.
Can you imagine choosing the hope of the dream over the reality of fulfillment? Just staying alive by keeping the dream distant. It's profoundly sad.
He even acknowledges Santiago was a blessing, but says every blessing ignored becomes a curse. He knows the boy showed him new horizons, but he's just too afraid to step towards them. He chooses the comfort of his familiar misery.
But Santiago learns something invaluable from this whole experience. He sees how he communicated with the candy seller earlier, perfectly, without sharing a language. He realizes he used this language without words, this language of enthusiasm, of purpose, to revitalize the crystal shop.
So the real language of the world isn't verbal, it's felt. It's action, it's intention.
Exactly. And as Santiago prepares to leave, the merchant gives him that one powerful Arabic word, maktub.
It is written.
The merchant uses it passively, almost resignedly. It is written that I will stay here. But Santiago's journey is about to completely redefine maktub, to transform it from passive fate into active destiny, something you strive towards, something you help write yourself.
Okay, so almost a year passes. Santiago has worked hard, saved up. He's actually earned enough money to buy double his original flock of sheep, plus get a ticket home, plus get an import license. He could go back to his old life, richer.
He's achieved material success. He fulfilled that practical goal. But the crystal merchant sees right through it. He tells him, maktub, and basically says, I know you're not going to buy sheep. That's not your real path.
And he's right. Santiago makes the choice. Destiny over security. Again.
He cashes out, takes his earnings, and heads for the pyramids. He joins this massive caravan heading across the Sahara. Huge undertaking, nearly 200 people, 400 animals, a moving city through the sands.
And it's on this caravan that he meets another seeker, but a very different kind. The Englishman.
Ah, the Englishman. He's Santiago's intellectual foil, isn't he? Santiago runs on intuition, observation, heart. The Englishman runs on books, logic, study.
He's obsessed with alchemy. He's already studied Esperanto, world religions, trying to find the universal key. Now he's going to the El Fayum oasis, specifically to find the alchemist, the legendary one who supposedly knows the masterwork.
The philosopher's stone, the elixir of life. the big secrets. And he's literally weighed down by these heavy suitcases full of dense, ancient books about alchemy, mercury, salt, dragons, kings, all the symbols.
This sets up that central contrast out in the desert. Alchemy versus intuition. How do you find truth?
The Englishman's view is clear. Alchemy is serious business. It's complex. You have to follow the master's steps precisely, decipher their cryptic, coded language. He thinks the obscurity is deliberate.
Why? Why make it so hard to understand if it's the truth?
He believes the complex jargon is a filter. It protects the secret, makes sure only the truly persistent, the truly worthy, can succeed. It's like the mysterious force again, but in written form. A test of dedication and intellect.
But Santiago looks at all these complicated diagrams and obscure texts and has a different realization, right?
A huge one. He starts to grasp that underlying unity the alchemists hint at, that all things are the manifestation of one thing only. He learns about the Emerald Tablet, supposedly the most important text in all of alchemy.
And it contains only a few lines.
Exactly. He has this epiphany. These things are all so simple that they could be written on the surface of an emerald. The complexity is maybe unnecessary. Or maybe it's just one path, not the only path.
He sees the external work turning lead into gold as a metaphor.
Right. The real alchemy is eternal. The purification of metals mirrors the purification of the alchemist's soul. The journey is inward, just like the Narcissus prologue suggested. It's about transforming yourself.
And this ties into the soul of the world.
It becomes much clearer now. The soul of the world is this universal life force, this positive energy flowing through everything, minerals, plants, animals, even thoughts. It's the collective consciousness of existence, constantly striving towards betterment, towards its own personal legend, you could say.
So while the Englishman stays buried in his books, trying to decode the past,
Santiago makes a different choice. He puts his own book away. He starts observing the caravan, the desert, the silence. He learns by listening to the world around him. He sees how the caravan, despite detours, always finds its way by following the stars, guided by the silent universal language. He's learning the desert's PL.
and he picks up some profound wisdom from the camel driver during this time.
Oh, yeah. The camel driver is fantastic. A man who lost everything, his home, his olive orchard in a flood. Total devastation, but it taught him the supreme value of the present moment.
What's that quote? It's a good one.
It's something like, I don't live in either my past or my future. I'm interested only in the present. If you can concentrate always on the present, you'll be a happy man.
Powerful stuff,
Is-
especially coming from someone who lost his past
Yeah.
and maybe feared his future. It's born from experience.
And his philosophy is also rooted in Maktub. It is written. He believes all our stories, the whole history of the world, were written by the same hand. That gives him peace, removes the fear of the unknown.
But he adds that crucial twist to Maktub, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's not just passive fate.
No, exactly. He tells Santiago about a seer he once knew. The seer said the future belongs to God, sure, but when omens are revealed, when you get a glimpse of what's written, it's often shown so as to be altered.
Ah. So omens aren't destiny set in stone. They're guides, opportunities.
They're like seeing a draft of the future, and if you have courage, if you act, you can potentially change the ending. You can co-write your destiny with the universe. That's a much more active version of Maktub.
Okay, after the long desert crossing, the caravan finally arrives at the Al Fayoum oasis, and it's not just a few palm trees.
No, it's huge, like a city hidden in the desert. 50,000 date trees, 300 wells. And crucially, it's neutral ground, a sanctuary, because there are tribal wars raging all around it.
And it's here, at the oasis, that Santiago's journey takes a very personal, very emotional turn. He meets Fatima.
Right, at the well, the traditional meeting place. And the moment their eyes meet, boom. He understands instantly. He feels immersed in the most important part of the language that all the world spoke, the language that everyone on earth was capable of understanding in their heart.
It was love.
Instantaneous, profound love. He feels it's something older than humanity, more ancient than the desert. He recognizes her as a central part of the treasure he was seeking all along.
But this immediately creates a huge conflict, doesn't it? Love versus the personal legend. He's found this incredible connection. Maybe he should just stay.
That's the temptation. But Fatima, embodying the wisdom of the desert women, pushes back, gently but firmly. She encourages him to continue his quest. She demands he fulfill his PL.
How does she justify that? Isn't love about being together?
She uses that beautiful desert analogy. The dunes are changed by the wind, but the desert never changes. That's the way it will be with our love for each other. She trusts that if their love is real, part of the soul of the world, it will endure separation. It will draw him back. True love, in her view, supports the legend. It doesn't obstruct it.
Wow, that's
Okay.
a high bar for love.
Yeah.
Unconditional support for the other's destiny.
It really is. And right after this profound emotional moment, the narrative just accelerates. The stakes get incredibly high.
Vision of the Hawks.
Exactly. Santiago is just observing the desert sky, watching two hawks fighting, and suddenly he gets this clear, terrifying vision. An armed battalion riding into the supposedly neutral oasis. An attack is coming.
He knows it's an omen, a crucial one. He tells the camel driver.
Who believes him, understands the importance of omens, and advises him to do the unthinkable. Go tell the tribal chieftains. Warn them, even though they might just laugh at him, or worse.
That takes immense courage. Walking into the tent of these powerful, wary desert leaders as an outsider, young foreigner, with a message of war based on a vision of birds.
Tremendous courage. And the chieftains are skeptical, of course. There's a long debate. But the eldest chieftain listens, remembers the story of Joseph in Egypt, another outsider who interpreted dreams and saved a nation from famine. He recognizes the potential truth in omens.
So he accepts the warning. He prepares the oasis for defense.
Yes, but it comes with a chilling condition: the stake. The chieftain tells Santiago, okay, we'll arm our men, but if your vision is wrong, if no army attacks by sunset tomorrow and these weapons aren't needed, one of them will be used on you.
Life or death based on interpreting an omen correctly. The pressure is immense.
Dude, it gets even more intense. Before the deadline, while Santiago is waiting, he's suddenly confronted by this imposing figure, a horseman dressed all in black, a falcon on his shoulder. He knocks Santiago to the ground, holds a huge curved sword right to his forehead.
This is the Alchemist, finally.
It is. And this isn't a friendly introduction, it's another test. A direct confrontation and test of courage. Raw physical intimidation.
What's the point of that?
The alchemist immediately tells him, courage is the quality most essential to understanding the language of the world. He's testing Santiago's nerve, his resolve, right then and there. He confirms he knew Santiago was coming, that he was waiting, and reinforces that the real treasure isn't the gold he might have, or even Fatima. It's still out there, at the pyramids.
But Santiago's tempted to stay now, right? He's found love. Maybe the treasure is Fatima.
That's the core temptation the alchemist needs to dismantle. So he lays out this bleak, step-by-step future if Santiago chooses to stay now before completing his legend.
What does he predict?
Happiness for the first year, maybe? Then in the second year, he'll start remembering the treasure, the unfulfilled quest. Year 3, regret and suffering will set in. By the 4th year, the omens will have abandoned him because he stopped listening, and even Fatima might resent him for giving up his dream. He'll be dismissed by the tribe, his chance gone forever.
Ouch. That's a brutal picture of stagnation.
It drives home the alchemist's absolute conviction. Love never keeps a man from pursuing his personal legend. If it seems to, he implies, it wasn't true love aligned with the soul of the world. It was just attachment or possession.
So Santiago has to leave Fatima, leave the oasis. But there's one last internal battle, right? His own heart.
Yeah, the final psychological hurdle. Listening to the heart. Santiago admits he's afraid. His heart is telling him to turn back, to avoid the potential suffering, the danger ahead. He feels like his heart is a traitor.
How does the alchemist advise him to handle that internal fear?
With one of the book's most powerful, most quoted lines, tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams, because every second of the search is a second's encounter with God and with eternity.
Wow. Reframe the fear. Embrace the journey because it connects you to something larger.
Exactly. You have to listen to the heart, acknowledge its fears, but teach it courage. Talk to it. Eventually, Santiago's heart aligns, returns to the soul of the world, and understands that true happiness is found in the pursuit, not in avoiding risk.
They're ready to go. But the alchemist adds one last warning.
The final test. He says that right before a dream is realized, the soul of the world tests everything you've learned along the way. It's the ultimate exam. And it's often so tough, he says, that many people die of thirst just when the palm trees have appeared on the horizon. They give up at the very last step. It's a test of ultimate persistence. And that ultimate test arrives almost immediately. Santiago and the alchemist are riding towards the pyramids, and they get captured by warring tribesmen. Looks like the end of the line.
How do they get out of this one?
The alchemist uses a bold, almost insane strategy. He hands over all of Santiago's remaining gold to the tribal chief. Buys their lives, but only for 3 days.
Why 3 days?
He tells the chief that Santiago is a powerful alchemist who needs exactly 3 days to perform his greatest feat. transforming himself into the wind.
He promises what? That's impossible. Is he just bluffing? Sacrificing the boy?
It seems like it. It's the ultimate test of transformation. An existential demand placed squarely on Santiago, and when the tribesmen laugh, mocking the idea, the alchemist casually points to the small yellow glass egg. He carries the philosopher's stone and the flask of the elixir of life and delivers another key lesson.
Which is?
When you possess great treasures within you and try to tell others of them, seldom are you believed. People often dismiss what they don't understand.
So Santiago has 3 days to learn how to become the wind. How on earth does he even approach that?
He has to use everything he's learned about the soul of the world, the interconnectedness of all things. He has to literally talk to the world. He dialogues with the desert, asking for its help. Then the wind. Then the sun.
What does he learn from them?
He learns about love as the driving force of transformation. He learns how everything in existence is striving to become better, to fulfill its own potential, its own personal legend. Even lead wants to become gold. Everything is evolving, nourished by love.
It's like a cosmic conversation about purpose.
Exactly. And finally, having understood the roles of the elements, he reaches beyond them. He speaks directly to the hand that wrote all. Not with words or pleas this time, but through pure understanding, pure alignment with the soul of the world, which he now sees is part of the soul of God itself.
You know what?
It works. It works. He performs the miracle. A massive sandstorm, the simum, whips up, terrifying the entire camp. When the wind finally dies down, Santiago is standing on the far side of where he started. He moved with the wind.
The chief must have been stunned.
Terrified but awed, he sees it as a manifestation of the glory of God and lets Santiago and the alchemist go immediately with an armed escort for protection. The alchemist's crazy gamble paid off.
It wasn't just magic, though, was it? It was the ultimate proof of the book's core principle.
That the universe really does conspire to help you if you commit absolutely everything, risk everything, align yourself completely with your personal legend and the soul of the world.
So they're free. Almost at the pyramids.
Yeah.
But the alchemist insists on one more stop.
Yeah, just 3 hours away from the pyramids, they stop at a Coptic monastery, a place of ancient Christian wisdom in Egypt. And here, the alchemist gives Santiago a final, concrete demonstration.
The masterwork demonstration. He actually does it. Turns lead into gold.
He does. He takes a piece of lead from the monk, heats it in a pan, and adds just a tiny sliver from that yellow glass egg, the philosopher's stone. And the lead transforms instantly into pure, gleaming gold.
Why show Santiago this now? After the wind miracle, isn't gold kind of anticlimactic?
It wasn't about the gold itself. Santiago already had gold from the chief. The alchemist explicitly says he did it to show Santiago that it was possible, to make the abstract real, to prove that the seemingly magical transformations they discussed, inner and outer, are grounded in reality, achievable.
Okay, that makes sense. And then he divides the gold.
Into 4 parts. 1 for the monk for his hospitality, 1 for the alchemist himself, 1 for Santiago, and 1 extra piece, also for Santiago.
Why the extra piece?
He explains it using the rule of 3s, or a folk proverb. Everything that happens once can never happen again, but everything that happens twice will surely happen a 3rd time.
Meaning?
Santiago had lost all his money twice already, first to the thief in Tangier, then basically giving it all to the tribal general to survive. The alchemist anticipates a 3rd potential loss is coming. So he's providing for Santiago preemptively. Insurance from the universe, almost. It shows that if you stay the course, the universe often compensates for your losses, sometimes even before they happen.
Wow. Foreshadowing. Before they part ways, the alchemist tells one last story. The Roman centurion.
Yeah, a really poignant one about the Roman centurion from the Gospels whose servant was dying. He seeks out Jesus, the rabbi, but feels unworthy to have him come to his house. He simply says those words of incredible faith. "My Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only speak a word and my servant will be healed."
And those simple words were so powerful, so full of faith, they echoed through eternity.
Exactly. The alchemist uses this story to make a final crucial point, especially after Santiago just performed this massive miracle of becoming the wind. The lesson is, it's not always about the grand gestures. Simple, sincere belief, true faith from the heart, that's what truly resonates. Every person on Earth, the alchemist concludes, plays a central role in the history of the world, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant their action, if it comes from that place of faith.
That's a humbling thought after turning into the wind. So Santiago is finally alone. Equipped with wisdom, the extra gold, near the pyramids, he follows his heart's intuition.
Finds the spot where his heart aches with emotion, where tears fall. He sees a scarab beetle scuttling there, an ancient Egyptian symbol of God, and takes it as the final omen. He starts digging all night long.
And finds nothing, just sand.
Just sand, exhausted, despairing as the sun rises. He gets attacked. Robbed again, beaten brutally by refugees from the tribal wars. It seems like the absolute final crushing failure.
This is the third loss the alchemist foresaw.
It has to be. They tear his clothes, find the piece of gold the alchemist made at the monastery. The leader demands to know why he was digging in the middle of nowhere. Santiago, broken and desperate, confesses. Tells them about his recurrent dream, treasure buried near the pyramids.
And then comes the ultimate twist, the final, most ironic omen of the entire book.
The leader of the robbers scoffs. He tells Santiago he's not going to die, just learn a lesson. And then he says, I had a recurrent dream too, right on this very spot, years ago.
Don't tell me.
Oh, yeah. He dreamed of a treasure hidden back in Spain, buried in a ruined church where shepherds and their sheep used to sleep, specifically at the roots of a giant sycamore tree growing up through the old sacristy.
No way. The exact spot where Santiago started.
The exact spot. But the robber leader says he dismissed the dream. I'm not so stupid as to cross an entire desert just because of a recurrent dream, he tells Santiago. He chose his fate as a robber over the possibility of his personal legend.
And Santiago. Bruised, bleeding, having lost everything again.
He starts laughing with relief, with understanding. He finally gets it. The alchemist knew, the universe knew, the treasure wasn't at the pyramids. The journey to the pyramids was necessary to learn where the treasure was, which was back home all along.
Unbelievable. So he returns?
He uses the gold the alchemist gave him, the third lost insurance money, gets back to Spain, back to the ruined church, digs at the roots of the sycamore tree.
And there it is.
There it is. A chest filled with old Spanish gold coins, precious jewels, golden masks. The treasure, his treasure.
And he puts Urim and Thummim in the chest.
Yeah, as a reminder of the king, of the journey, of the guidance. Confirming that the journey itself, the wisdom gained, was the real transformation. The gold is just the bonus.
And to me.
The Levanter wind blows, the wind from Africa carrying the scent of the desert. And something else. He feels the touch of a kiss. He fulfilled his promise. He completed his legend. Now he can return to her not as a boy who abandoned his dream, but as a man who achieved it, ready for love. #Hag outro.
Wow. What a journey. So if we connect all those dots, what's the core message here for you, the listener? It seems the geographical goal, the pyramids, was almost a misdirection.
Sort of. Or maybe the destination was necessary to reveal the starting point's true significance. The treasure was always there, right under his nose, or, well, under the sycamore tree where he first had the dream.
But he couldn't have known that without the journey.
Exactly. That's the profound lesson. The journey itself, every step, every setback, every person he met was the real treasure map. The thief, the merchant, the Englishman, the alchemist, Fatima, even those brutal robbers at the end. They were all necessary parts of the universe's conspiracy. They prepared his soul, gave him the wisdom, the resilience, the perspective to recognize the treasure when its location was finally revealed. The journey was the prerequisite for understanding.
Okay, so let's try to boil down the core wisdom.
Huh.
What are the key takeaways you can walk away with from this deep dive?
First, the personal legend. It's presented as everyone's primary obligation. You have this unique purpose, this thing you were born to do. Pursuing it is paramount, even when it looks impractical or crazy to others.
Second, the universe conspires. It wants you to succeed. You might get beginner's luck to start you off, but expect challenges that mysterious force. They aren't there to stop you. They're tests to prepare your spirit, hone your skills, make you worthy.
Third, fear of suffering. This is a big one. The alchemist says it's worse than the suffering itself. You have to listen to your heart, yes, but you also have to teach it courage. And remember, true love, real connection will always support your pursuit of destiny. It won't hold you back.
And fourth, the language of the world. It's always speaking to you through omens, intuition, synchronicities, love, even silence. But you have to choose to listen. Pay attention to the simple things, the flight of hawks, the feel of the wind, the wisdom of a camel driver, the nonverbal warning from a stranger. It's often quiet.
The source material mentions another related story from Coelho's Warrior of the Light prologue, which sums up that last point perfectly. There's this boy trying desperately to hear the bells of an ancient temple submerged beneath the waves.
He focuses intently, strains his ears.
And hears nothing but the ocean, the seagulls. He's trying too hard, focusing only on the sound of the bells.
So what happens?
He gives up on trying to hear them. He decides maybe he'll just be a fisherman instead. He sits down on the beach, just present, grateful to be alive, listening to the ordinary sounds around him, the waves, the birds, his friends playing nearby, just being.
And then?
And then, in that state of relaxed presence, simply listening to nature and life itself, he hears the first bell ring, faintly but clearly.
Wow. So that leaves us with a final provocative thought for you, the listener.
If you are intensely focused, laser focused maybe, on that distant glittering treasure chest, your ultimate goal, PL, is it possible you're missing the quieter, essential sounds, the smaller guiding miracles happening right around you? And the simple act of living and listening now, are those the very things that will actually lead you to success? Maybe the key isn't just striving, but also receiving. Something to think about.